That awkward moment when your vampire learns you have a human side piece. Of course we've all been there, right? That awkward moment where she has to assert her dominance, suck your blood, make sure that she understands that it's just purely physical and there's no emotional attachment, despite the clear jealousy and everything else like that. But leave it to Ko, man. This dude went from 0 friends as far as he could tell to accidentally ghosting a friend because I didn't even consider the possibility, but the fact that where he left the watch, it was actually right above her mailbox, like it was her mailbox, so it just kind of looks like from a distance, oh, you're leaving something that will play with, that will communicate with, and that moment where you just assume whoever took it didn't care, which is why no one ended up calling you. But the fact of the matter is they both were waiting for one of them to signal. And the fact that we got that entire awkward situation was fantastic. Because the thing that I'm really enjoying about Call of the Night, next to the pretty obvious, amazing production, the city at night is just absolutely stunning to look at. But the thing that I've really come to appreciate in the second and third episode, especially with episode 3, which I would argue is my favorite out of the batch, is the fact that I like the dialogue. It's very simple. It's not trying to be revolutionary or try to say, oh, we're trying to tell something that's never been told before in terms of characters saying, what are friends? Or the awkward, like, oh, you know, I guess we have been friends that whole time, and not knowing how to respond after a misunderstanding kind of turns you into friends despite not thinking so. The show just has a really grounded look at how someone who has been alone for most of his life, who feels kind of fed up with society, he doesn't see the point in school, he doesn't see the point in the facade that he was putting on, and for him, this nightlife with a vampire, his quest to become a vampire, is the one thing giving him joy. And I think the way they're letting these characters present themselves, from Nauta being this vampire who very much is someone trying to claim everything's purely physical or that there's no emotional connection. But as we've clearly noticed over episodes 2 and 3 primarily, episode 1, you could maybe make the argument there was nothing there just yet because she was just a vampire seeking that tasty blood. But episode 2 and 3 shows us anything but that. This girl definitely has the kind of poly energy that is, oh, you know, you got a side piece, that's cool, just make sure I get my fill before you go over to them. But she also has this she has an energy that she doesn't herself even understand, that she is getting embarrassed, she's getting flustered. Hell, she gave our boy the finger in this episode because just the whole idea of him not immediately shutting down the proposal of, hey, come back to school with me. I hate school too. I hate the people I call friends, not knowing if they're really my friends, but, you know, let's kind of suffer together and we'll have fun doing so. The idea that she's very much worried that someone like Ko might be ripped away from her, that because right now the reason she gets to see him so much is that he doesn't go to school in the daytime, meaning he can be well rested for his nighttime adventures. So if he started going to school, there's no way he could keep both the day and night life to the same degree that he has going on right now. So I like seeing the emotional side of her open up despite having so many moments where she just is so bold, she's so in your face. At points you feel like she's okay with you having a harem, at other points it feels like, oh man, you might actually get killed if you attempt it. And then for Ko, someone who really, you know, he's asking the pretty honest question. Anyone who has friends cannot explain when or how you became friends with most of your friends, because no one asks, do you want to be friends? That stops after like the 2nd or 3rd grade. You just naturally, whoever you hang out with a lot, you just can tell, that's my buddy. And, you know, if it's your main buddy, that becomes your best friend. But it's a pretty natural question for someone who's been alone to not really understand the concept. And I like how Nazna throws it in his face, like, yeah, of course you wouldn't understand because, you know, we don't ask to be friends. It just kind of happens. It's a natural feeling. But someone who doesn't understand the concept is very much like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do? Like, are we friends? Like, what's going on, right? And they even have a little fun with that kind of tag at the end of the episode after the kiss, which, of course, he fell flat on his face, meaning he was bleeding, so she sucked the blood, but that's a kiss. Like, that's 100% a kiss. And the whole idea that friends don't just kiss each other, and I'm like, there isn't a JoJo meme right there. If you're not kissing your best bro with JoJo, you're not best bros anymore. But holy shit, like, they're just having such fun with that dynamic, and then introducing a new person to the equation, which I'm glad that they decided to do at the end of last week and let episode 3 really properly introduce her, because I love Nazna, I love Ko, but having a bit more spice to that, not to say that it's drama, but more so it's that spice of where will his priorities go now that there's someone who's no longer a night owl. She's someone who wakes up so early, like 4 in the morning, so she can go on walks before school. This is clearly someone he's going to want to spend time with. So how will he balance that out? Because Akira is an awesome personality. I really like how I thought she was going to be a little more boring than what we got, just because based on the little glimpse we got in last week's episode, she didn't really give me the impression she was super high energy like someone like Nazna. So maybe with having someone like Ko, who isn't the most energetic person himself, maybe it would just be boring when it was just them on screen. But no, to my surprise, she was a very fun character who had probably the most in common in terms of with Ko between the two girls right now. Just because, you know, they very much feel like society just... It's such an odd thing because they're at an awkward age in their life to begin with, but then also, like, where do we want to go in the future? So I think introducing someone who, you know, in any other show would be like a love triangle type thing, but here it's not really that, because for Ko, it's just, he doesn't even understand the concept of love. This boy's still struggling with friends, right? We're not even getting close to that. But the idea that you have a vampire who very much is starting to get flustered, which is something she never seemingly has done before. You have a friend who has been waiting for you to call her for so many years, it feels like, but, you know, finally you were able to do so. And you have a boy who just wants to fit in and have people who need him and wants to be around him and stuff like that. And I think that's what makes Call of the Night so special, is that it's not trying to tell this, like, crazy character revelation moments or anything like that just yet. Like, it can get there, but it's taking its time with the slow burn to let this City of Night just make us say, like, I understand why he doesn't want to let go. I understand why he wants to be a vampire, but throwing in that human element definitely will give him more to consider than just simply going with the flow with a vampire who he needs to fall in love with for it to happen. Now he has friends that might try to pull him back to that human side, even if she doesn't quite believe it's a vampire just yet, maybe just a little too horny for her own good. There's a lot of funny, like, occurring things that popped up over the past few episodes. I love continuing to see the drunken people at the bus stop. I hope we see them every episode. They don't even need to have a speaking line, just seeing them, like, holding their heads in their hands. Just the idea that they can't possibly drink anymore as they probably have to get up in a few hours for their office job. I just love seeing the city, even if, like, we see the same shots in every episode. The yellows, the purples, the blues. It's just such a great location and shows off the beauty of a city that normally would be polluted with noise and traffic and just visual eyesores. It's just so peaceful. It's almost like nature coming back alive, just with, you know, without that toxicity of just the crowds and the anger and everything like that. And the way they're telling this pretty basic but intriguing story with Ko and his acquaintances that are friends, but where will he go with those relationships in the future is so mesmerizing. That's why I think many people love Call of the Night, and I'm so excited to see where it's going to go from here. But thoughts down below. What do you think of Akira, the new character we got introduced to fully in this episode, and what do you hope to see in future episodes? Do let me know. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.